The past Tuesday was pretty much like any other Tuesday night on campus. Young kids hanging around the local hotspot, trying to get noticed by an attractive member of the opposite sex. College hadn't changed much since my days at my alma mater. Fashion trends might change, but the essence of the college experience has remained fairly unchanged for decades. But on this particular Tuesday night, things did not go along as they usually did. A lovely young student named Lois Krause was waiting for her regular bus to take her back to her sorority house on campus, but she never made it back. She was swept away by some unknown, unseen creature. Her sorority sisters reported her missing to the campus police, but a young, vibrant student not returning home wasn't all that peculiar, and the campus cops just figured she had hooked up with some young fella and was having the time of her life. Problem was, her life was no longer a viable commodity. She was, tragically, dead and had been half-eaten. Her remains were found the next day at the bottom of an ocean cliff nearly 100 miles away from the college by some clam bakers who were out gathering their clams for that night's roast. It didn't take the police long to determine who the remains belonged to. What they couldn't determine was how she got nearly 100 miles away from the college campus, and who or what had half-eaten her and left her half-eaten carcass at the bottom of the cliff. There was no mention of this story in any of the local papers, and the police radio bands were dead silent as well. I got wind of it from my old buddy Curtis Bay, who is without a doubt the most knowledgeable researcher in all of journalism. If Curtis doesn't know about it, it probably doesn't exist. So I hopped in my trusty Mustang and raced over to the little-known research department of the Daily Planet to have a little chat with my old pal Curtis.
I thought of you as soon as I got wind of this story. It has you written all over it, Kolchak, and I'm sure it will be your next feature story.
So what have you found for me, Curtis? Something stupendous, I hope.
Oh, it's stupendous, all right, and you're gonna love it. It's right up your alley and has all the earmarks of a total feature story.
Well, I'm not much of a bowler, Curtis, so let's see if we can avoid any gutter balls, shall we?
This story is all strikes, Kolchak. All strikes.
Well, in that case, old buddy, I'm all ears, so tell me a story to warm my heart.
You are aware of the woman who was found half-eaten out by the ocean, right?
Yes, Curtis, that's why I'm here in the first place.
Well, what if I was to tell you that this isn't the first time something like this has happened?
Go on, I'm still listening, Curtis. This is beginning to intrigue me.
The college tried real hard to cover it all up, saying it would have ruined enrollment and all that crap.
Yes, I could see how half-eaten students could cause a downswing in overall enrollment.
But that's not the best part of it all, Kolchak. The best part is that the professor, who was the main suspect back then, is still working at the college. And do you know what he's involved in?
I haven't the foggiest idea, Curtis, but please feel free to clue me in, okay?
He does research into genetics, DNA, and cloning, and he has a vivid passion for big birds, like eagles and hawks and condors.
Condors? Do you mean like vultures, Curtis?
That's exactly what I mean, Kolchak. I think he has somehow cloned a vulture, or created one somehow, and he lets it out to go feeding now and then.
Maybe he just cloned himself, Curtis. That would make it all much simpler.
Hey, you might be onto something there, Kolchak.
I was only joking, Curtis. I seriously doubt that a tenured professor would get himself involved in something as wild as... Hey, wait a second here. I certainly have come across stuff that was far wilder and crazier than this, and it turned out to be true. I think you have really hit the gold mine here, Curtis.
Yeah, I kind of thought that myself before I called you.
Do you have any idea of just how big a deal all of this is, Curtis?
Oh, yeah. I think I do, Kolchak. And I expect to be mentioned in reference in the article. Maybe even named in the footnotes.
Oh, you will, my friend. I assure you of that. You certainly will indeed be mentioned.
But do you have any idea how fascinating all of this is to me, Kolchak?
Fascinating fails to describe the magnitude of this story, Curtis. I wonder if the English language even has a word capable of expressing the width and breadth of this story. The impact of its full nature could alter the very fabric of the known universe.
I think the shit is getting a little deep around here, Kolchak.
Yes, Curtis, you may well be correct in that observation. You may well be correct indeed. But the fact of the matter is that this is a very important story, and I will now have to convince my editor, Tony Vincenzo, to allow me to publish it.
He keeps you on a pretty short leash, doesn't he, Kolchak?
Well, I prefer to say that he's looking out for the shareholders of the newspaper. But yeah, Curtis, you are correct. He keeps my leash pretty short. Looky here what I've got for you, Vincenzo. What I am holding in my greedy little hands is a brand spanking new front-page story, and one that will put your name and this paper on the lips of every reader in America.
Carl, I hate it when you use that condescending tone with me. You know it doesn't work. What do you think, you're some kind of Jedi Knight who's going to sway my thoughts or something?
No, I would never assume such a thing, Vincenzo. I know you're far too powerful and wise to fall for a funny carnival trick like that. I need you read this, and then I need to get a fuel allowance stipend so I can go talk to a few people to get proper backup of certain facts.
Oh, now you want money. On top of all the other ulcer-inducing shenanigans you put me through, Carl. Now you want money, too? Oh, dear Lord in heaven, save me from the horrendous acts I want to do right now. So if I read this garbage and then give you some money, you'll leave me alone. I highly doubt that, Carl.
Well, you shouldn't. If nothing else, Vincenzo, I'm a man of my word.
I believe you'll hound me like some sort of rabid dog until you get what you want, and then... Oh, yes, folks. There's an and then part to all of this. And then you'll run around town telling all the little dollies that give you praise that one Carl Kolchak has once again climbed the Mount Everest of the journalism world and produced something so profound, so absolutely astounding, mere mortal men can't possibly conceive of its importance.
Well, no, I wasn't thinking along those lines, Vincenzo. But I like that sort of take on things, and I may well use that moving forward.
Oh, for Christ's sake, Carl. You're friggin' unbelievable. Okay. Give me a few minutes to go over this, and then I'll get back to you.
I am very angry at you, Vincenzo.
Angry at me? For what?
You told me you were going to read my story and get back to me in a few minutes. That was 2 days ago, Vincenzo. 2 days.
Well, pardon me, Carl, for having other aspects of life that can, on occasion, take priority over your next story.
Oh yeah, what's so damn important that you couldn't read that story when you said you would?
I had to go to the doctor, Carl, if that's all right with you.
Oh, to refill your prescription of Viagra, I would imagine.
No, Carl, I had to get a colonoscopy done.
Oh, and you call that... Wait, a colonoscopy? Oh, shit, man, I take it all back. I take it all back.
Kolchak, get your ass back in here, buddy. I have had an opportunity to read this new story of yours, and there's just a couple of things I need to discuss with you about it, okay?
A couple of things, Vincenzo? Like what?
Well, for example, and let me just make sure I'm getting all of this right. What you're saying here is that a well-respected and tenured professor at our esteemed university has concocted some sort of formula or serum that transforms him into a huge condor? Am I getting this right, Carl?
You are indeed, Vincenzo. You are indeed.
Have you lost your cotton-picking mind, Kolchak? Or maybe you took a trip down south to Oregon to partake of some of the psychedelic drugs they've decided to legalize down there.
Oh, no, Vincenzo. I haven't been indulging in any drugs, psychedelic or otherwise.
So then please explain to me how someone like you, who can on occasion seem rational and of a sound mind, concoct a tall tale of this magnitude and do so in what appears to be a serious nature. I have read a lot of your stories over the years, Kolchak, and I have yet to find one as far-fetched as this one is. I mean, you do realize you're trying to say that a man, a human being, has transformed himself into a huge condor. Exactly how is that done, Carl?
It's complicated, Vincenzo. But to make a very long story short, let's just say two things. DNA and cloning.
Cloning? Like in Jurassic Park?
Similar to that sort of thing, Vincenzo, but this process is much more complex than that, in that we are not dealing with a portion of a dinosaur locked inside a piece of amber, but rather a living, breathing human being that is being transformed. Transmutated, you might say. The entire process is really quite fascinating.
Transmutated? Is that a thing now, Kolchak? I mean, I've heard of all the other trans things that are going on, but not transmutated. That's a new one on me.
Well, that's a term I came up with because I couldn't think of some other way to describe the process that enables this creature to be produced. And it is a creature, Vincenzo. A creature that apparently prefers young women to feed on. And that fact alone should be enough to alert all the forces one could conjure, but the government and the policymakers would rather argue about whether a man can have a baby or which shade of hair is appropriate for a city council meeting.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir on that one, Kolchak. But I think there needs to be some additional investigation on all of this before I go to press with your story. Have you actually seen this process being conducted, Kolchak?
Yes, I have, Vincenzo.
Well, that's got to be spooky. I mean, how does this guy conduct stuff like this without people at the school being aware of it?
He has an underground laboratory, so everything he does is done out of sight and out of mind.
With an underground lab? You're not going to create another underground Seattle story with this, are you, Kolchak? I mean, we both got fired behind that last one you did with that.
Yes, we did, Vincenzo. However, I might point out that our lovely paper has a new owner who, it appears, prefers to leave us alone.
Good point, Kolchak. And I, for one, certainly appreciate the hands-off method of ownership this guy employs. That last guy was one hell of a piece of work, I'll say that much.
While Tony was behind me on this story, I have had too many stories ripped away at the last moment to be secure in my feelings that this story will actually get published. I needed to get back over to the university and try to gain access to the lower level below the professor's residence. In my initial reconnaissance mission, I really wasn't able to see everything I needed to see. I had a couple contacts in the world of burglars, and I thought that perhaps a short meeting with one of them might provide me with some vital input so that I didn't end up cuffed up in the back of a cop car. I certainly wanted to get to the bottom of all of this, but not by interfering with my personal liberty. So I headed over to the Soho district, where a felon or two has been known to hang their hats, and it didn't take me long to track down Booster Johnny, a well-known thief and a guy willing to spill the beans for a couple bucks.
Kolchak, you old scallywag. What are you doing wandering around here at night? A fella could get hurt, you know. Robbed, even.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, Johnny, but I need your help in a small way, and I'm more than willing to pay for the information I need.
Pay me for the information he needs, he says. You hear that, fellas? He's gonna pay me. You're damn right you're gonna pay me. You need something from me, it's gonna cost you. So, how may I be of service to you, Mr. Kolchak?
I need to know about locks, Johnny. Specifically, old locks. Like the ones found out at the university campus.
Oh, yeah, I can help you with that, Kolchak. Most of those old buildings over there use the Champlain locks that were made in Chicago in the 1880s. They're the double tumbler type, and they can be jimmied open pretty easily if a fella knows what he's doing. Do you know what you're doing, Kolchak?
Well, sort of, Johnny, but I was hoping for maybe some pointers as well.
Pointers he needs, fellas. Well, Kolchak, you're in luck since tonight is pretty slow. I can provide you with a few pointers, but that'll be extra. If you know what I mean, Kolchak. And you do know what I mean, Kolchak. Right?
Hey, you ever done time at Joliet in Illinois?
No, I haven't been fortunate enough to have frequented that establishment in the past.
What about Quentin? You been to Quentin?
No, I haven't been there either.
Well, you look familiar. Are you a private detective?
No, I'm a reporter with the Daily Planet.
Oh, a reporter. Well, maybe I seen you somewhere around town. You know, I don't always hang out here with Johnny. Sometimes I go to the movies.
That certainly is a distinct possibility. I have been known to get around.
Hey, Bobby, do you mind? I'm trying to make a buck here, okay? Save your question and answer session for later.
Jesus, Jehoshaphat and Skittle DD, don't be such a drag. Sometimes you're just a drag, Johnny. I used to rob banks, you know.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, but now I mostly just shit my pants. Life ain't what it used to be, you know. And the price of bread these days? Oh, forget about it.
Well, I'm certainly glad you chose to share that with me.
Not a problem, mister. Not a problem at all. I'm always happy to share my valuable lifelong knowledge to the younger folks like yourself.
I appreciate that a great deal, but I have some pressing business here with Johnny, and I need to bring that to a conclusion.
Hey, look, Kolchak, what do you expect from these old cons? They've been inside so long, they sure perk up when they get a chance to interact with the rest of society. So, what say you and I head over around the corner here, and I can give you those pointers you were asking about?
Johnny, I'm not so sure I like the way that sounds.
Now, don't go getting weird on me, Kolchak. I ain't one of those sicko fucks. This is strictly business.
After he killed her, I just, you know, I ran as fast as I could until I saw you.
Now listen, I'm telling you for the last time, I'm getting sick and tired of you butting into my business. Now, will you please let me ask the questions, Mr. Kolchak?
Certainly, Captain.
All right.
Certainly. What did he look like?
Are you deaf? Well, look, get rid of that tape recorder, too. Now, what did he look like?
Well, all I can really say, officer, is that it was huge, and it swooped down out of the darkness.
What do you mean by swoop down?
I mean, it swooped down. It came flying in from that way over there.
Ma'am, did you say this thing was flying?
Yes, I was like a giant bird of some kind, and it was exposed as well.
Exposed. Exposed in what way?
Yes, his wonker was flopping around in the wind. It kind of reminded me of my old boyfriend, Hugh Jardin. But Hugh doesn't have feathers, mind you. But as I was saying, it swooped down and grabbed the poor girl by her shoulders and whisked her away in what seems like just a second. It was horrible, truly horrible.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, ma'am. I'm going to have one of my officers escort you over to that abandoned warehouse over there for some additional investigation. Would that be all right with you, ma'am?
Yes, I suppose so, but only if you have that new burrito from Taco Bell. They taste so wonderful and are juicy, too.
Unfortunately, ma'am, we don't have a product endorsement budget, and we wouldn't be able to provide you with a Taco Bell burrito. However, one of my officers may have a loose salami he could share with you.
Look, Captain, I don't know what kind of cockamamie ship you're steering here, but I will not have you try to stifle my story. Do you hear me loud and clear? Captain? Vincenzo and I had heard that there was going to be a press conference later that day, so we got together to have a bit of a powwow before proceeding forward with the case.
Look, Kolchak, I'm trying real hard not to throw you out that window over there. You have once again managed to get my ass in such hot water that it could possibly cause third-degree burns on my backside. Kolchak, just how can we adequately prove that this thing actually exists if you haven't managed to get any pictures, or better yet, some video footage of this creature? If I go to press with a story in this state, I'll be the laughing stock of the publishing world.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that's happened to you, Vincenzo. You're an old salt, and this sort of stuff just rolls off your back like water on a duck.
Yes, this sort of scrutiny has occurred before Kolchak, but only as a result of your irresponsible journalism.
Irresponsible journalism? Vincenzo, now you're starting to sound like the cops at their press conferences, where they say the citizens of this great city are safe and sound. Meanwhile, pretty young girls are being flown off by some morbid creature of the night.
Look, I have the big boss breathing down my neck, and it is very uncomfortable, Kolchak. That guy has more money than God, and he could bury me so deep, Indiana Jones couldn't find my rotting bones.
Vincenzo, it is called news for a reason. It is because it is new, newly discovered, newly exposed. If it were otherwise, we wouldn't read it. We would drive it, because it would be olds, not news.
Oh, you're a real comedian, Kolchak. I hear they're holding open mic night over at the Comedy Closet. Maybe you should give that a try.
Well, maybe I should do just that, Vincenzo, because I have been dealing with nothing but jokers around here. And I'm sure I've picked up a joke or two along the way.
Look, Kolchak, I understand your frustration with all of this, but I have to guard against an unwanted retirement, and that's just the simple truth of the matter. And I don't want to hear any more about it.
I never thought I would live to see the day that the once great Tony Vincenzo would buckle and cower to the threats and demands of the powers that be. But reality is, in fact, reality, and he has a point in a certain regard. As folks get older, they certainly begin to reconsider their long-term options. I mean, it's not like they're 30-something dam busters anymore, and pressures from things like mortgages and continued health care can have a grave impact on people's lives and how they go about those daily lives. But that sort of thinking certainly doesn't help poor Lois Krause. There was far too much at stake for me to just idly allow Vincenzo and his higher-ups to stifle this story. I needed to get over to the university to put to use those vital insights Johnny was able to pass along to me. That may be the best $20 I've ever spent. I gathered my essentials and headed out the door to drive over to the university and get a look inside this professor's laboratory of madness. Once I observed the professor walking around his property, I knew I would have to find an alternate route to get to the underground portion of the university grounds. Thankfully, Johnny the Booster provided me with some very insightful information regarding access points to this underground area. And as it turns out, an old acquaintance of mine named Paco works in one of the offices that hides a little-known staircase leading to the underground. I just needed to create a ruse to get him out of the office so I could make my way down there.
Paco?
Forget it, Kolchak. I don't need.
Paco! Is that any way to treat a friend who's really trying to do you a favor? And that is your green convertible out in the parking lot, isn't it?
Yeah?
Yeah, well, I was on my way home, and I saw a bunch of kids around your car, so I tried to chase them away, but before I could, they'd let all the air out of your tires. Well, I tried.
Oh, those sons of
Maybe they'll
bitches.
come back. Not even a thank you, Paco?
And don't forget, later today we'll be discussing genital herpes with Dr. Rufus Baldwin again. That's later today here on WKIOU, where the fun never stops.
We have been investigating this horrific episode for some time now, and we have yet to sustain a suspect. But all of our departments are working diligently to that end.
So, you haven't made any arrests, Captain. Is that what you're saying?
I suppose one could phrase it that way. But I can assure the public at large that there is no imminent threat of any kind, and our fair city will be safe as the day is long for the upcoming boat races on Lake Washington.
Always the public salesman, Captain. Always the salesman.
Kolchak, could you please just take a flying leap off a tall building? I think that would benefit society a great deal.
So, am I to surmise, Captain, that from your less than cordial response, you would prefer I spend my time elsewhere?
Yes, that would be a good idea, Kolchak.
I see. And then that would make it so much easier for you to try and sweep under the rug the fact that this city has a serious, ongoing threat of a huge, bird-like creature that is plucking young girls out of our midst like some child in a candy store.
Kolchak, I will not have you interrupt this press conference with wild accusations and unfounded conspiracies.
Captain, you and I both stood together in that alley over on Commercial Avenue and interviewed the witness who said as much. Is your memory so bad you can't recall witness testimony from only a couple days ago? Excuse me, but have you had any luck with the various samples that were retrieved from the attack scene?
Well, we ran what was found through the normal battery of tests and didn't find any real irregularities.
So absolutely everything about what you found was not out of the ordinary in any way.
Well, except for the claw marks on her shoulders.
Doctor, did you say claw marks?
Yes, we found what appears to be some form of claw impressions, more like incisions, really, because whatever made them was quite sharp.
Oh, I see. Thank you very much, Doctor. And do have a nice day, won't you? After nearly an hour of listening to the police captain drone on and on about how safe his fair city was, both Vincenzo and myself thought it prudent to perhaps indulge ourselves in some of the city's finer establishments for lunch. So we decided to head over to Cecil's on Cherry Street, certainly one of Seattle's most distinguished eateries, and a place where a guy can clear his head from all the nonsense the captain was spitting out, all of which was being done at the expense of the average taxpayer, I might add. Somewhat dissatisfied with what I had seen in the coroner's report, I decided to drop by the county morgue with a nice new bottle of scotch for the medical assistant who has been known to imbibe whilst on duty. He is indeed quite the talkative fellow, and provided me with some fantastic insights. I certainly do not envy Mr. Jones here, and can only imagine what this sort of work can do to a man over time.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. You go right on ahead, though.
Now, look, right off the top, you know we can't link these two killings unless we know whether Ethel Parker has a needle puncture, too.
She has. And that's not all.
You know something the medical examiner doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
What?
First, you owe me $10
For a bottle of scotch.
What? Yep. Bought for one anecdotal morgue attendant.
Okay, keep talking.
Hurry up.
Yeah. Oh, Vincenzo, what I was able to discover from this rather talkative fellow is that the victim was not only nearly half-eaten, but whoever or whatever had done this was very powerful and had what appears to be claws of some kind, because the poor girl's shoulders were nearly torn off from the claw marks left by the creature that abducted her from the university campus.
And what do you plan to do about all of this, Carl?
Well, after my search of the professor's lab the other night...
The what? I don't want to know.
As I was saying, after my search the other night, I am thoroughly convinced that our friendly professor has been up to his neck in all of this, and it is high time someone calls him out on this horror and brings this monster to justice.
And how are you going to accomplish that feat, Carl? They seem to have this guy pretty well hidden away.
I am going to go interview the university president and let him know that bad publicity for the school would be such a shame, and I'm sure the alumni donors and the board would be less than impressed with his performance as the head of this fine university. But that all of this negative publicity could be avoided if he would only allow me access to interview our esteemed Professor Vulture.
Vulture? Really, Carl, the guy's name is Vulture?
Yes, ever so appropriate, I think. Don't you, Vincenzo?
Oh, yes, I do, Carl. Yes, I do indeed.
I was enjoying my Thursday night extravaganza held at a local pub, which I frequent. I find the ambiance quite alluring, and they serve a mean steak dinner as well. While my eyeballs were being pelted with the mind-boggling motions of the dancing lady, I got a note from the barmaid, which read as follows: "New insights in old cases must see you at soonest possible time. Curtis." Curtis would not bother me at night if it weren't important, so as much as I hated to, I jumped in my car and headed over to the Daily Planet. I really appreciate the call, Curtis. But now that you have me here, could you please explain to me why I left a perfectly good steak dinner half-eaten to race over here to your research dungeon?
All I can say, Kolchak, is if you thought the last batch of stuff we looked at was good, Wait until you lay you eyeballs on this batch of info.
Aha, that certainly sounds enticing, Curtis. Let's have a look-see at this new batch of old papers, shall we? What Curtis had uncovered proved beyond a reasonable doubt that there had indeed been previous murders near the campus area, and those murders were very odd in that most of the victims were partially eaten. And in some of the cases, their remains were found out by the ocean below an obscure prehistoric cave above a small wave-washed cove. Vincenzo was going to have a hard time disavowing all of this.
I had to get over to the university president's residence to confront him about our friendly neighborhood killer Condor. So I bid Curtis a fond farewell and thanked him yet again for the valuable information. This new batch of info would be valuable ammunition while discussing the matter with the university president. I was well aware of the fact that he may be a formidable debater and would not be swayed by my various arguments regarding my having access to this elusive professor. He had apparently been a part of this university staff for over 80 years. Quite the long-term employee, one could say, as that he began his tenure back in the days of steam locomotives and the beginnings of flight with hot air balloons.
Name, Gladys Weems.
Good afternoon to you, madam. Is the president available to discuss a most discreet matter?
Who wants to know?
Kolchak. Carl Kolchak.
Never heard of you. Go away.
Well, I guess I'll just have to take it to the papers instead, then.
Go to the papers for what? All right, you common man. Come on in.
Oh, so he is available. Well, isn't that just fine and dandy?
Who the hell are you?
The name is Kolchak, Carl Kolchak, and I am a reporter for the Daily Planet. And I need to discuss with you a very serious matter regarding my gaining access to an interview with Professor Vultur.
You mean that old cripple guy who lives out by the docks on the lake?
Yes, I suppose that might be one way to describe him to a degree.
Yeah, I don't know the guy. He was here long before I took over this place.
Be that as it may, sir, it is quite possible that your friendly professor may well be involved in some rather nasty things as a result of his somewhat unorthodox research he has been doing.
Look, like I said, I don't know the guy. And I have no idea what sort of research he may or may not be doing. His donors bring in loads of dough for the school, so I pretty much let him have free rein out there. I've never even gone over to that place.
Well, would it surprise you to know that what he has been doing is research involving DNA splicing, cloning, and more importantly, transmigration of species. In this case, large birds, like condors.
I saw something on the news about that the other day. And you're saying this guy's the one responsible for that crap? Well, just goes to show you. You never know. You just never know.
That is indeed exactly what I am saying, sir.
Well, yeah, if you want to interview the guy, be my guest. But based on what you just told me, don't you think maybe the police should be the ones doing the interviewing?
I'd like to get his side of the story to make sure that I have my facts straight.
Or more than likely, you just want to have the exclusive to this guy's story. You are, after all, a reporter for a newspaper, right?
I think I should warn you that it is my opinion that he has been responsible for the demise of at least 2 young girls recently. And there seems to be a bit of history in his past which implicated him in very similar things many years ago.
I don't know about any of that. That was long before my time here.
I only mention it as that your own life may be in danger for speaking with me about all of this.
A danger from that old guy? I don't think so, Mr. Kolchak. I'm not your everyday pushover, and I certainly know how to take care of myself.
All right. I just thought it prudent to let you know.
Okay, so is that all you needed, was this permission thing?
Yes, and you have graciously granted that to me, and I appreciate it very much.
Not a problem, Kolchak. Can I get back to my lunch now? Oh, Johnny, come out and play. Come on out, Johnny. Oh, Johnny, come out and play. Come on out, Johnny. What the fuck is going on here? Jeez Christ, man, it's friggin' 5 o'clock in the morning, for God's sake.
I got word through my police contacts that the university president, Mr. Moorhead, had been reported missing by his cleaning lady yesterday morning. I find it curious that a short time after I have a discussion with him and warn him that his life may be in danger, he turns up missing. But he did say he can take care of himself. However, he may have been thinking more along the lines of a normal known threat, not some huge condor swooping down from above. Not many people are accustomed to an attack from above. Most of our threats are at ground level, where we can see them right in front of us. I had heard about a taxi driver named Marty that had witnessed the bird on the night of the last attack, so I needed to track him down and have a chat with him about what he saw. Thankfully, most taxi drivers were easy to find. Just cruise the hotel strip and you're bound to hook up with him in short order.
I don't get it. Your hunch was right about it being Greek.
Yeah, it was the strangest thing I've ever seen, Kolchak. And from years of driving a hack, you see some strange shit, if you know what I mean.
Oh yes, I know what you mean. So, this creature that you saw, could you describe it in some detail?
Well, it was pretty dark out, but it really looked like a giant bird.
Uh-huh. Any specific type of bird that you may know of?
Like that one that used to sit on the cliff waiting for Wile E. Coyote to mess up so it could eat him.
Oh, you mean like a vulture?
Yeah, a vulture. Or I think they call them condors.
I have a photo here that I'd like you to look at. Does this look like what you saw?
Well, kind of, but that's just some dude with a costume on. What I saw was no costume. This was a living, breathing, flying creature. Oh, and it had this huge wonker hanging out there, too.
You mean he had his genitals exposed?
Yeah, that would be a polite way of saying it. But let me tell you, Kolchak, his junk was flopping around out there like some kind of eager beaver serpent ready to strike.
All right, I'll just go ahead and take your word on that one, Marty. Now, there had been a third attack and abduction, with the university president having gone missing. Something told me he was currently being processed through the bowels of our local killer Condor and would never be seen or heard from again. If I was going to interview this elusive professor, I had better do it quickly. I couldn't count on the incompetence of the police to last forever, and they would surely discover who this maniac was and apprehend him before I would have a chance to discover his true motivations. So I gathered my trusty camera and recorder and headed out to his residence to have a little chat with Professor Vautour. However, I have been having a bit of trouble with my Mustang and the little 289 under the hood, so I dropped it off at the shop, and Vincenzo was kind enough to voucher me for a rental for the day, and they gave me a nice, shiny, red Mustang Fastback. Look out, coppers! The little red ticket maker is coming your way. So, after burning off an adequate amount of rubber off of the rear tires in the parking lot of the local pro football team, I made my way out to the residence of one Professor Vautour, the person I believe is, in fact, the killer Condor.
Yes, may I help you?
Are you Professor Vautour?
Yes, I am. With whom am I speaking?
My name is Kolchak, Carl Kolchak, and I'm a research assistant to Dr. Friedman, and he asked me to interview you about your genetics research.
Oh, Dr. Friedman. I have not seen Thaddeus for many years. How is he doing?
Well, he's doing fine, just fine.
Please come in. Make yourself comfortable. So, what is it that you want to know, young man?
Well, I suppose the first question I have to ask is whether or not you believe that a person, a human being, could be genetically altered in such a way that their very physical essence would be altered.
Oh, that is quite a mouthful, young man. Where do you get such notions as this? That sounds to me to be perhaps a bit far-fetched or even laughable.
I have heard from very reliable sources that your genetic research has led to actual physical alterations in the physical body in such a way that the subject takes on the appearance of a bird, specifically a condor. Do you deny this, Professor Vulture?
Oh, my young man, I think maybe you have been smoking some of that wacky tobacco and are suffering from some form of hallucination.
No, Professor, I have not been smoking anything. And neither had Lois Krause before you grabbed her up in your talons and flew off with her before eating her out at your cave dwelling by the ocean. You see, Professor, I am not a research assistant sent here by Dr. Friedman. I am Carl Kolchak, reporter for the Daily Planet, and I know all about your secret underground lab, and your genetic manipulation research, and the serum you devised to alter the very fabric of a human being.
I believe you have been reading too many adventure novels or maybe comic books. This is a rather fanciful tale you are spinning for me, young man. Where do you get such crazy notions as this? You are clearly insane and will have to be placed in a mental institution for your own safety.
Nice try, but no, Professor. I am not crazy. I have the proof of all of this, Professor, and it would be in your best interest to confess to all of this heinous behavior so that you can receive the care you need. Otherwise, it's just the cold, dank stench of the dungeon for you, Professor. The choice is yours. What's it going to be, Professor?
I am sorry, young man, but this is all far too fanciful for my liking, and I am going to have to ask you to leave now. And please do not ever return. If you ever return or speak another word of this to anyone, you shall gravely regret it, Mr. Kolchak. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, yes, clear as the day is long, Professor. And I want you to know right up front, I am going to leave here and go directly to the police to tell them everything I know and show them all the evidence I've collected. Evidence like you shooting up that serum and going through the transformation into a giant killer condor. Then you went out and killed Mr. Moorhead after he and I spoke about this.
Yes, Mr. Moorhead should have left himself out of all of this. It is a pity that you too shall have to suffer the same fate, young Mr. Kolchak. You will be eaten alive like some form of candy snack at a motion picture matinee. Down to the bone it will be for you. Right now I am powerless against you, but in just a little while I will be more powerful than you can possibly know. You are defenseless against me, Mr. Kolchak. Face it now and make it easy on yourself.
Defenseless? I got your defenseless hanging. I'm Carl Kolchak from the Bronx, and people from the Bronx do not fold and go away. No, we stand and fight, Professor. And I gave you an opportunity to give yourself up, but you chose not to do that. So now you must suffer the fate of the criminal justice system. Or maybe your fate is even worse than that. Whatever the case, I am done with you, Professor. So done, it ain't even funny. I got the impression from his overall demeanor that he knew the rope was tightening around him. I didn't know if he would try to flee or perhaps just fly away. His denial of knowing anything about the transformation serum was weak at best, and frankly a transparent, bold-faced lie. But one can only ask the questions. The determination of the answers is something else entirely. It didn't take long for my prediction to come true. Later that very same day, our esteemed professor swooped down and snagged yet another young girl off of the campus walkway. However, this girl was raised out in the country, and she was packing heat. Once the killer Condor deposited her in his hidden cave on the ocean, she pulled out her trusty .38 and pumped him full of lead. His deformed and genetically manipulated body fell nearly 100 feet down to the rocks below. The locals didn't even bother to clean it up. Scavenger birds did away with all of the mess in no time at all. There may well have been a condor or two involved in the feed fest these birds enjoyed, but we cannot be certain of it. So, if you ever find yourself walking alone on a deserted college campus, and you think you hear wings flapping above your head, you may want to take shelter quickly. It could be a killer condor looking for its next meal.